What if the person flying your plane suddenly couldn't fly, and the airplane decided to save everyone on board anyway? Imagine a calm voice taking over, the route quietly replanned, the runway chosen, the descent beginning. No hero pilot, just a single button, and a system that refuses to panic. For decades, we've trusted autopilots to hold a heading. But this goes further. It thinks, it talks, it lands. Here's the wild part. It doesn't wait for you to be an expert. It was built so the most terrified passenger could press one button and watch the impossible become routine. No drama, no guesswork, just a machine that turns chaos into touchdown. Sounds like sci-fi. It's not. And the moment you understand how it works, and what it means for the future of flying, you'll never look at the cockpit the same way again. For nearly a century, pilots have been trained to handle the unthinkable. Engine failures, lightning strikes, even sudden loss of consciousness. But no checklist in aviation history ever truly answered one question. What happens if the pilot can't fly? Until now, the only solution was hope. Hope that a co-pilot could step in. Hope that someone on the ground could guide a terrified passenger through a landing. Hope that fate would be kind. But hope isn't a strategy at 30,000 feet. Aviation has always chased safety one breakthrough at a time. Parachutes gave way to autopilot, and autopilot to advanced avionics. Yet even with all the technology in the world, there was always that one gap. The moment when human hands simply couldn't take control. That's the gap Cirrus decided to close. Because when a single moment can decide everything, impossible isn't a word that should exist in the sky. In 2025, Cirrus unveiled something that felt almost unreal. A plane that could land itself. It's called Safe Return Emergency Autoland, and behind that calm name hides one of the most advanced pieces of aviation technology ever built. At its core, the system was designed for one terrifying scenario. The pilot becomes unresponsive. Whether it's a medical emergency, extreme fatigue, or sudden loss of consciousness, Safe Return doesn't wait for instructions. With a single press of a button, or even automatically if the system senses erratic behavior, it takes command. Within seconds, the aircraft stabilizes itself. The autopilot locks in, the wings level, and a gentle voice announces what's happening. To passengers, panic turns into disbelief as the screens around them shift into rescue mode. What was once a wall of complex gauges now becomes a clear display of progress. Altitude, destination, estimated landing time. Safe Return begins scanning the world below. It studies nearby airports, checks the weather, evaluates terrain and obstacles, and selects the safest possible runway. One long enough, wide enough, and equipped for a perfect touchdown. It even communicates automatically with air traffic control, declaring an emergency and guiding everyone below to prepare. It's not science fiction. It's the moment artificial intelligence quietly stepped into the cockpit, not to replace the pilot, but to protect everyone when no one else could. What happens inside the aircraft after Safe Return activates is nothing short of mesmerizing. In less than 10 seconds, the system transforms the plane from a human-controlled machine into a fully autonomous aircraft. It doesn't just fly, it thinks. First, it levels the wings and steadies the altitude. Then, like a digital co-pilot, it begins running calculations faster than any human could. It evaluates airspeed, fuel levels, terrain elevation, and even surrounding weather cells. Every variable is analyzed in real time to determine a single outcome, the safest possible landing. The algorithm searches for airports that meet strict criteria. Runways at least 4,500 feet long, paved, equipped with GPS guidance, and clear of obstacles. Once it locks onto the ideal destination, it automatically sets a flight plan and begins the descent, speaking calmly to the passengers as it goes. It adjusts flaps, mixture, throttle, and fuel flow on its own. It communicates with air traffic control, squawking emergency codes, and transmitting position and intentions. The plane's interior, once designed for pilots, now becomes a sanctuary for passengers. The screens display a simple message. Safe return activated. Remain calm. In that moment, the line between human instinct and machine precision fades. Every movement is deliberate, every correction smooth. The technology doesn't panic, doesn't hesitate, it just flies. Now imagine you're sitting in that plane. The pilot slumps forward, silent. A second ago, your heart was racing. Your mind froze. You're in the middle of the sky, and there's no one left at the controls. Someone reaches forward and presses a single button. Safe return. Instantly, the cockpit changes. A calm voice fills the cabin. Emergency autoland activated. The aircraft is now under control. The plane steadies itself. The nose levels. The panic starts to fade. On the screens, a simple display replaces the maze of instruments, altitude, remaining flight time, and a glowing line leading towards the destination. The passengers no longer see numbers they don't understand. They see reassurance. The system talks to them, updates them, even tells them when they'll touch down. In that surreal moment, fear gives way to awe. The impossible is happening quietly, methodically, without chaos. People hold hands, whisper, cry, but the plane doesn't tremble. It just keeps going. By the time emergency vehicles gather at the runway, the passengers aren't screaming. They're silent, watching a machine perform the most human act imaginable: saving lives. For over 100 years, the dream of flight has always carried an unspoken fear that at 30,000 feet, a single mistake or sudden illness could end everything. But safe return changed that equation. This system didn't just automate flight, it redefined what safety means in aviation. It's the first time in history that the skies themselves became a safety net, where passengers aren't helpless and pilots aren't alone. It's the technological equivalent of a guardian angel coded into silicon and steel. Cirrus didn't invent the idea of automation in planes. Autopilot and flight management systems have existed for decades, but safe return bridges a deeper gap: trust. It's not just a system that reacts, it's one that cares. It evaluates, decides, and acts in moments when humans can't. Still, not everyone is convinced. Traditional pilots worry that over-reliance on automation could dull their instincts, that one day machines might make human judgment obsolete. But Cirrus's engineers see it differently. To them, this isn't about replacing pilots. It's about giving humanity one more layer of protection. In a world where technology often feels cold and distant, safe return stands out as something different. Technology with empathy, designed not to impress, but to comfort. Behind every innovation is a group of people who refuse to accept good enough. For Cirrus Aircraft, that mindset has been the company's DNA since the beginning. Long before safe return existed, Cirrus had already made aviation history with another breakthrough: the Cirrus Airframe Parachute System, SAPS. A full aircraft parachute designed to save lives when all else failed. That single invention redefined how pilots and passengers thought about survival in the sky. Safe return was the next logical step, not to replace CAPS, but to complement it. Where the parachute saves lives after control is lost, safe return prevents the loss of control in the first place. Together, they form the most comprehensive safety ecosystem in private aviation. And at the heart of this innovation is people like Ivy MacGyver, Cirrus's executive director of the SR series. When she introduced the G7 Plus to the world, her excitement wasn't about flashy design or new engines. It was about something deeper. The idea that technology could make courage unnecessary, that a passenger, anyone, could bring a plane home safely, even on the worst day imaginable. Every bolt, every line of code, every switch on that control panel was built around one simple belief: that no one should ever lose their life in the air because help was too far away. Cirrus didn't just build an airplane. They built trust, engineered into every flight. The safe return system isn't just an aviation milestone. It's a glimpse into where the world is heading. The idea that a machine can calmly handle life or death decisions marks a turning point not only for flight, but for how we coexist with technology itself. If a small private aircraft can choose an airport, avoid terrain, and land perfectly without human input, what does that say about the future of cars, ships, or even spacecraft? Self-driving vehicles are already on the road, but safe return proved something bigger. Machines aren't just capable of automation, they're capable of empathy by design. The principles behind safe return, constant awareness, predictive thinking, and seamless communication, could soon guide autonomous ambulances, rescue drones, or emergency response systems. The same algorithms that read the skies today could one day save lives on highways, in oceans, and beyond Earth's atmosphere. But maybe the most powerful shift isn't technological, it's emotional. Because for the first time, humanity is beginning to trust machines not just to perform, but to protect. The same fear that once surrounded automation is slowly being replaced with something new: quiet confidence. In that sense, safe return isn't only a system, it's a symbol, a promise that the future of technology doesn't have to feel distant or dangerous. It can feel human one day. When a passenger presses that small white button and feels the aircraft take control, it won't feel like a miracle anymore. It'll feel normal. That's the legacy safe return is creating. A world where the extraordinary becomes expected, and safety is no longer a luxury, but a standard. The idea that a plane can land itself without human hands once sounded like a fantasy. Now, it's a feature. And maybe that's the quiet beauty of innovation. It doesn't scream for attention. It just changes what we believe is possible. Because every time a plane lands itself, it's not just technology proving its worth. It's humanity proving that trust can evolve. That courage can be designed. That the line between human and machine isn't about competition, but cooperation. The sky, once the symbol of uncertainty, has become a space of reassurance. And as safe return guides another aircraft home, it reminds us of something simple yet profound. Progress isn't about removing people from the equation. It's about ensuring they always make it safely to the end of OY.